I used to want to be a model, but I realized that I'm very introverted. So I'd rather just let everything speak for itself. My name is Khalil Hainsworth. I am from Baltimore, Maryland, and I guess I'm the designer, creative director for Spectrum Theory. So this is honestly, all of this is just years in the making. I've just been, branching off and just letting myself really develop to my fullest ability before I develop a collection, a true own collection. A lot of my pieces resonate silhouettes and geometrics because I try to bring an importance to direction. I want to kind of showcase how direction is very prominent and it's a necessity in life. That's why I brainstorm so many ideas with different lines going in different directions within the pieces that I design. I have no other directors, no other designers, it's just only me that, does everything. Of course, despite me actually getting pieces made and manufactured, but yeah, everything here is just like years in the making. So right now, I'm actually working on a 1x1 piece capsule. So not one of one, but 1x1. So what I plan to do is basically release a set piece, of course, and have, multiple versions, ready, just multiple versions of it ready. And then from that point forward, once that, sells or whatever, I move on to the next piece. And it'll all be one capsule. As of recently, the main individuals that have been inspiring me is already within the, Instagram streetwear. They're within that realm. Individuals like Max Amden of Ranger Cartel, I'm sure you probably heard of it. Payne Star, Payne Porter, Alexander Disnova, he's a huge inspiration to me. Samuel Ross, I mentioned it before. He's a crazy creative. Yeah, individuals like that. And honestly, a lot of my inspiration ties into the world around me, and sometimes again, geometrics as well. So, but yeah, I would base definitely my inspirations off of them. One year in 2023, I actually had an invite from a good friend of mine from New York City. He actually invited me to be a vendor. That was like my first time ever doing anything involving Spectrum Theory, like for a vendor wise. I remember I was very, very nervous for it. When I first did it, it was my first time in New York City for, things I did. And it was a blessing though. It turned out really well. I was with my cousin Gregory. And we ended up doing pretty well. Like it was prominently a place for like thrifted stuff. There was other brands there, like Lawrence Way. He's the owner of General Experiment. He's a great guy. I met him there. A funny name, but another brand, Rhino Dick Pill, was there. But that was like the only 3 brands there, and it was me. And like I said, I think I did pretty well for my first like official thing. And I believe that was like my proudest moment so far. Definitely Norway. Had an individual, I forgot his name, but he's super cool. He actually purchased a piece for me back in like 2020. It was like a work jacket. Honestly, like for my progression now, like back then, it wasn't that good to me, but he still supported me. And, that was truly like a crazy experience to have him, buy something all the way from there. Mind you, that was before I even knew how to ship internationally, so I had to figure it out. But it all worked out and he represented it well. Also, Europe. Europe definitely, it's crazy. I had an individual, support me, purchase this bracelet right here. I didn't even know until today. So I thought that was pretty cool. My reaction, I was like, wow, like this is actually possible. Right? I didn't think it would be possible like as soon as it was, and mind you, this was like all the way back in 2017 when I first started clothes, and that was back when like I didn't really have the not to say that I have all the technicalities now, but I definitely didn't have as many back then. And when I first received purchase, I was very amazed, and I was like, wow, I can actually keep this going. I'm so blessed. Like I never thought it would reach it. It was oh my God, it was a shirt. It was literally like a regular shirt with my drawing on it. It was so bad. Honestly, it was so bad for the time. But it said industry life. Basically, it was when I was in high school. It was industry life. I sold it to my old high school basketball coach. He purchased it. He was my first purchase. Yeah, yep, it was wild. Yeah. The advice that I would take, or that I would give, is definitely make sure like you're inclined to learning different things within the realm. That's one of the things I struggle with. I feel as though I didn't do my best with, actually learning how to sew. That's one of my biggest fears at the moment. Kind of bracing that in, because I know that it's all either I know how to do it or I don't. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the biggest flaws that I have at the moment. I would say don't have fear. Go in head on and just trust that, if you're doing it multiple times, and just you're consistent with it, it'll work out. It'll work itself out. I would just give that advice. Learn to sew. Definitely. I just want to shout out to my parents, of course, for letting me do my thing in terms of just go my own way with things. Want to shout out my homeboys, Riley, London's, Michael, Pedro, my girl America. She's a model. Shout out to her for representing my clothes when nobody else did. Yeah, shout out to God, of course. And like I said, of course, next thing I plan to release will be this before summer. Hey, this is Spectrum Theory, coming to you live. I want to post it so bad. All right, we're good. All right. I'm sorry.